Hey, welcome to the show. It's Twin Tiers Football this season 2014 special, sponsored by First Heritage Federal Credit Union, Jubilee, Elm Chevy, and Garcia's Mexican Restaurant. Jenna Control, I'm Andy Malnoski. For the next half hour, we get you ready for New York State high school football playoffs and some Pennsylvania as well. We kick off our show with a look back, Jenna, at the preseason and what some players and coaches love about the game. So saddle up. Twin Tiers Football in the season 2014 special is off and running. And here's what the boys of fall love about the game.
It's like the movie and the TV show. Friday Night Lights, man. That's what it's all about.
I love the hitting, just coming out here and, just letting it all let loose and, just getting after it.
Hitting. Defense is my favorite part of the ball. Defense wins championships.
The favorite part of high school football is just the relationships you build with kids. The role that we have as coaches and watching them develop.
I love making contact. I love hitting people on the field, and I just love the sport.
You got your pretty boy backs, and you got a lot of different personalities out here. When you're coaching 35 kids, a lot of different personalities show. You build all sorts of different relationships with them, whether it be in the classroom, on the field, in the locker room. I just think that's my favorite part. You get to know these kids on different levels.
Just to see them develop, even after school, and years after that, they come back and see you.
I like the bond with, it's like a family kind of thing. It's like you're with your teammates, and we have this bond, like we have team dinners and all this, and we are together.
The wins and losses are important, but really it's the memories you create with the kids and the bond.
I like cracking people. I hit hard, and I like all the teammates and everything. It's like a brotherhood.
Playing at home, playing on defense, pretty much playing it in front of a home crowd.
Definitely favorite thing is cracking skulls. First day of hitting is all out for me. There's nothing better than just hitting.
All right, Jenna, nothing better than hitting right there. Good stuff.
Gotta love that.
Well, Jenna, this season, nothing short of special. We also had some big-time plays.
Yeah, Andy, it was tough, but we did. Check out the top 5 plays from the 2014 season and brace yourself. These are stellar. Take a look.
Starting it off with a little defense, North Penn Mansfield hosting Milton, and it's the big man, Ryan Turner, rumbles it in for the return to number 4, Dryden at Waverly. Peyton Miller going Peyton Manning. He launches it to Shane Carpenter to number 3, Wellsboro versus Athens. Mike Petropola finds Kieran Smethers on the slant, and that boy is gone. And speaking of gone, number 2, he holds Section 4's rushing record. Jesse Manuel, here he is versus Deposit Hancock in the Class D quarterfinals. And to the top spot, Elmira hosting Union Endicott. Jerry McPeak going beast mode as he's in for the touchdown.
Thank you so much, Jenna. A lot of big-time plays this season. From one countdown to another now, we're counting down the top 5 football players of all time in the Twin Tiers, men who made it to the highest level of the game. At number 5, we start off with a speedster from Horseheads. On a Blue Raider team that won back-to-back Section 4 titles in 1996 and 7, wide receiver Julian Gary emerged as a breakout star at the University of Maryland. There, Gary became an All-ACC pick and helped the Terrapins to an outright ACC championship in 2001, the program's first since 1985. Perhaps best known for making the touchdown catch versus NC State to secure the title, Gary and Maryland played in the Orange Bowl versus Florida in their first postseason berth since 1990.
Steps up and fires back. A nice throw. Gary spins across the 50. Julian Gary, their leading receiver.
In 2001, Gary signed as a free agent receiver with the NFL's Carolina Panthers, but left training camp after an altercation with fellow wideout Steve Smith. Gary has since spent time as a receivers coach at Holy Cross, Georgetown, and Towson University. Gary is still tied for 3rd all-time in career touchdown catches with 13 at Maryland. Perhaps the fastest player on our list, WENY-TV Sports salutes Julian Gary, one of the best football players ever from the Twin Tiers. We now return to Twin Tiers Football this season 2014, brought to you by First Heritage Federal Credit Union, Jubilee, Elm Chevy, and Garcia's Mexican Restaurant.
All right, welcome back to Twin Tiers Football, the season 2014 special right here on WENY-TV. And now we'd like to welcome in a very special guest from WENY Radio out of Corning, sports announcer Derek Gabby, a former Corning football standout who's also, worked with Dennis Sweeney up there all season long. Sweeney Enterprises, always some great times. And, good to see you, Derek. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, always
love talking about football.
Great. I know you do. That's why you're here. Earlier tonight, we talked about the best plays of the season, but you covered a lot of games this year. What's your favorite moment of the year?
My favorite moment would probably be Jesse Manuel breaking Joe Stevens' rushing record. That's a big time thing to do, especially when you're only a junior in high school, and he has another year just to add on to that, which makes it, in my mind, think that that's just going to be eventually an unreachable record.
Yeah, that's well said, Derek. I know the speed of Jesse Manuel, just a junior, so many really big things coming from him in his career.
Absolutely. And now, Derek, I know the playoffs are here, so what team do you think is really going to stand out and shine this postseason?
I would like to say, Maynard, but locally, Tioga. Jesse Manuel is just going to, I don't want to say run all over everyone, but he is so good that I think in the playoffs he's going to step it up another level because he's one of those players that just is special.
And what about the future here in the playoffs and everything? What's the team other than Tioga that Elmira, obviously state Final Four team from last year?
I would like to say Horseheads, because Horseheads has a very good offense. They put up a lot of points on Corning. They put up a lot of points on Elmira. I would like to say Horseheads, but I'm going to have to go with Corning or Elmira being one of those teams to make it far.
Awesome. Derek, you're my man, always. They call him the Bear, that's why. So, good to see you, Derek. Thank you so much for coming down and joining us. Really
thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you, Derek. Well, we were talking about Horseheads just a minute ago, and to play the game of football, you have to be strong-willed, you have to be passionate, and you have to give everything you have on every play. Horseheads' Dan Stroman has given all, not just for the football program, but in honor of his fallen hero.
It was kind of like a test of my mental strength is, can I take this and can I keep moving forward?
Give me what you got. Remember last week, we're not doing that.
A helmet reflects so much of a football player. Scratches, pride, battle scars. Horseheads' Dan Stroman has several scars, but he's enduring one scar that will never fade away. Last year, his father Dan died after battling diabetes. Suddenly, Stroman lost his #1 fan.
The first couple of days you're in shock, then comes anger, you're mad, why did I have to lose him?
He misses his dad's presence, his physical presence, his voice. It leaves a huge gap.
Every game, every practice, Stroman's emerged as a leader.
He's one of the guys you wish you had 11 of. I mean, tenacity, his energy, his just love of the game is just amazing to watch.
I feel like he's the kind of guy who wake up every day saying, I'm going to accomplish this, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't matter what gets in my way, I'm going to do it.
Football to me has always been the way out. Persevere, to keep going, never quit, never stop.
And Stroman has risen time after time, game after game. But before each game, he has one ritual for Dad.
Break down, raise on 3, 1, 2, 3, man. Go.
Dear God, I pray that you can be with me this game. And Dad, I pray to you too, because I know you're up there looking at me. I pray that you can help me to fulfill what I've always wanted to do and what I've always wanted to do in your eyes, and that is to accomplish the goal. And I pray that we can have a victory today here. Amen.
We had to try to be grateful that the years that we had with his dad, and that at least his father was able to speak into his life. He has memories and a connection.
Dan's a really resilient kid, and still take care of what he's take care of is important. He still has a lot of life goals ahead of him.
Whatever goals Stroman wants to reach, his father will be with him in honor.
I think that's what's driving him every play. I'm doing this for my dad.
He's not there physically. I know he's somewhere watching me play. Every game that I play from now on, I play for my father.
1, 2, 3, man. Go.
We now return to Twin Tiers Football the Season 2014, brought to you by First Heritage Federal Credit Union, Jubilee, Elm Chevy, and Garcia's Mexican Restaurant.
Hey, welcome back to our Twin Tiers Football this season 2014 special. Jenna Cottrell, Andy Belnowski with you. And Jenna, yeah, we're riding through this thing tonight.
It's a first for WENY, which is always great, but I mean, I think this is just showing the great things to come for our station.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we continue our countdown tonight of the best of the best.
Yes, a lot of options, but we go to number 4 now, the best football player of all time in the Twin Tiers, another Horsehead star who made his name on the offensive line, scaring many players along the way.
A 1977 graduate of Horseheads High School, George Gilbert flourished at the University of Tulsa for the Golden Hurricane. An opponent's worst nightmare, Gilbert excelled on the offensive line for years. He was an All-Missouri Valley Conference pick in 1981, and George also took home the Rex Martin Memorial Trophy, which recognizes the state of Oklahoma's top senior college football player. Gilbert still holds Tulsa's all-time record for most career fumble recoveries with 6.
It's 4 athletes that won out and participated beyond college into the professional level.
Gilbert nearly notched a spot on the Philadelphia Eagles before playing 3 years in the United States Football League with the Stars organization.
From Tampa Bay, the United States Football League Championship Game 1984.
There, he won 2 world championships with the franchise before the USFL closed its doors in 1985. One of the biggest guys you'll see even today, Gilbert has served as defensive coordinator for Horseheads for the past 25 years. WENY-TV Sports pays tribute to one of the best ever from the Twin Tiers, George Gilbert.
All right, George Gilbert, one tough man, and actually my old gym teacher too back in Horseheads back in those days. Yeah, such a great guy and earned everything he's got, you know, at number 3 for sure. So, but coming up soon, Jenna, before that we go to break, you know, you've got a great story of will and determination.
Yeah, well, football is all about teamwork and dedication, and for one Corning Hawk, despite his physical limitations, nothing can stand in the way for his love of the game and the entire Corning program.
Football is defined as a sport, but for Corning Jr. Tyler Pearson, it means way more than just a game.
Don't think my life would be the way it is today without football. To be like a part in something for once.
He never, you know, probably thought he would have an opportunity to do anything with high school sports.
Pearson was born with cerebral palsy, a condition that affects his muscular coordination and mobility, but never his positive spirit or appreciation for the game of football.
Probably one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. Kind of like the whole atmosphere is pretty cool thing around the team.
Pearson joined the team this past August, and from prepping to practice to even the playing field, Tyler is there every step of the way.
He's ready every morning for a long day at school, long night at practice.
He's just a kid who always shows up wanting to be there. He's always trying to keep everyone in a positive mood, and it's just nice to look on the sidelines and know there's someone who's actually wants success with the team.
He's huge for us. I mean, he's the first one out of practice, and he's like the last one to leave too.
With Tyler's passion and dedication to the program, head coach George Bacallis gave Tyler a jersey of his own, number 77.
And when I gave it to him earlier in the year, he was just grinning from ear to ear and happy to be a part of it.
I think it's really cool because a lot of the guys have really kind of supported me through all this, so I'm really happy.
And with somebody who has so many challenges, it's nice to see what a positive attitude he has, because it's a good example to the rest of us of what we should be like.
1, 2, 3, As a mom, so excited to see him doing something that he wants to do. I am just the proudest mother ever.
And even though Tyler can't play, Pearson has learned the true spirit of the game isn't the final score, but the memories and relationships made along the way, something he says he will never take for granted.
This is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, because I know that there's not that many people who can do something like this.
Hey, welcome back to Twin Tiers Football, the season 2014 special. Jenna Control's here in the house. Andy Bolnowski with you. Now we continue our countdown. Our number 3 best football player of all time. This man was taken from us far too soon, but the legacy he leaves behind still lives.
Perhaps no player made a bigger impact in a shorter amount of time than Notre Dame's Joel Stevens. This running back always seemed to run with a much bigger purpose. Stevens amassed over 4,700 yards rushing and 55 touchdowns in 4 years for the Crusaders. Joel's work earned him the New York State Gatorade Player of the Year in 1994 to go along with New York State High School Player of the Year honors. One of the biggest recruits in the country, upon graduating, Stevens chose to follow his dream of playing baseball at Clemson University. But soon, he opted to play with the Baltimore Orioles, who drafted him in 1995. After his stint in the minors, Stevens set his sights on returning to football and was offered a full-ride scholarship to Syracuse University. But having the chance to play in the Carrier Dome never happened. Sadly, Stevens died in 1998 from colon cancer. But today, his legacy is alive and well. A statue outside of the school symbolizes Stevens' life and all that it represents. Close friend and coach Mike D'Alicio once said, "Joel was an example of what can happen to people who are genuinely good and work hard." Our only non-college participant on the list, WENY-TV Sports honors Joel Stevens, one of the best players ever from the Twin Tiers.
What a tremendous player, but Joel Stevens' all-time rushing mark actually ended thanks to one tough young man from Tioga. Running back Jesse Manuel has set a new Section 4 all-time rushing record after the Tigers beat up Groton last Friday 70-6. And here's the thing, Manuel's only a junior. Jesse broke Notre Dame legend Joel Stevens' mark. In total, Manuel now has 4,734 yards plus another year to add on.
It's great walking around and knowing you read about all these good guys in the newspaper and see them from week to week, and just knowing you're at the top of all that, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's not all for the record books in New York State this year. Elmira senior running back Jerry McPeak didn't just knock on the door of history, he kicked it in. McPeak set the Elmira District's all-time rushing mark, eclipsing Orlando Smith's 4,003 yards, which he set back in 1993 versus Horseheads way back then in October. Now, Jerry had a career-high 283 yards and 5 touchdowns that day versus Horseheads. That win clinched a division and a home playoff game. As for the record, it's all too sweet.
I credit my line mostly because they worked real hard in the off season, but also the team for cheering us up on the sideline and our fans for being there supporting this game.
If I could have Jerry and Orlando, on the same team, what could happen? But just to have Jerry in the same conversation with Orlando is great, and the way Orlando, wrote a letter to him in context like that, that's just great, showing just the type of people that those guys are.
Hey, welcome back to Twin Tiers Football, the season 2014 special. We're getting closer to our number 1 best football player of all time, Jenna, as voted by local players and coaches. Number 2 needs no introduction, and you can call him the Beast from the East or the Nasty Green Hornet that played with a purpose.
The Elmira athlete of the decade in the 1980s, Southside's Pete Kuykendall became larger than life. A 2-time Ernie Davis Award winner, Kuykendall guided the Green Hornets to the Section 4 title game at tackle in 1983. Kuykendall is one of the USA Today's Super 25 players in the country, and after playing for Southside and becoming New York State Athlete of the Year in 1984, Kuykendall suited up for Penn State. As an Nittany Lion, Pete became an All-American nose tackle, scaring offenses across the country. Kuykendall was on the 1986 national title team that beat Miami in the '87 Fiesta Bowl. With both teams undefeated, number 2 Penn State top number 1 Miami 14-10 in the most watched game in college football history, with over 21 million people watching. In 1988, the Buffalo Bills drafted Pete in the 11th round of the NFL Draft, but Kuykendall didn't make the final roster. A man among boys on the football field, Kuykendall is forever linked with greatness. WENY-TV Sports salutes Pete Kuykendall, one of the best players ever from the Twin Tiers.
Wow, Pete Kuykendall, such a legend down there at Southside. Huge guy.
Absolutely.
You know, Green Hornets, the Green Man.
I love that. That's a great one.
It's good stuff. But Jenna, now it's on to our #1 football player ever from the Twin Tiers.
He's the only Heisman Trophy winner on our list, the original Elmira Express.
The greatest Elmira athlete of a generation left an everlasting football mark. After graduating from EFA, Davis starred at Syracuse University, becoming a two-time All-American and helping the Orange become national champs in 1959. But Davis broke down barriers in 1961 when Ernie became the first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy. Davis would become the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft by the Cleveland Browns, but sadly died of leukemia in 1963. Although he never played a pro down, his number 45 is retired by the franchise. And his number 44 is also retired, and Ernie Davis Legends Field displays it at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. WENY-TV Sports honors the Elmira Express, Ernie Davis, for the best football moment in the Twin Tiers.
Well, hard to argue with Ernie Davis, the best of the best, being a Syracuse grad. A lot of history up there.
Absolutely, number 44, the banners all over the dome. What a phenomenal player.
No question, Jenna. And, you know, I want to say, you know, thank you and thank everybody, you know, for helping out with this show. It's been a lot of fun. And, you know, we like to end out with the sights and sounds of the season. Don't miss all your highlights and more right here on WENY-TV, Twin Tiers Football. Thanks to our sponsors, First Heritage Federal Credit Union, Jubilee, Elm Chevy, and Garcia's Mexican Restaurant. For Jenna, for Derek, he's here in the studio somewhere. He's lurking around. Thank you so much for watching. Here's the sights and sounds.